Hey everyone, welcome to the Onchain India Podcast, where we are celebrating our homegrown entrepreneurs and their success stories. Today we have with us Vijay from BitsCrunch. Uh, I've known Vijay since quite few years now, seen their journey, right from one of their initial decks, when they pitched in, and to the way they have come forward so much in this journey. Few of the statistics in their journey has been they raised about $12 million from leading venture capital like Coinbase Ventures, Animoca brands, and the list goes on. They did a Coinlist sale this year, which they sold out, I think, close to approx $3.6 million in just 24 minutes. It was a record-breaking, sort of sale which they did in. At peak point, their token went to about 500 plus million FDV, which was, I think, just phenomenal, the way they carried themselves. And they have, amazing active community. They started with the NFT, sort of a segment, NFT analytics, but now they deep dive into the other parts of, crypto or Web3 as well. And they have some amazing marquee customers in this space. So it's a full sort of a loaded stats with what Vijay and his team has been able to achieve. And today we will deep dive into his journey. We'll also cover things that work, things that didn't work for him. So it would be inspirational for our young developers and entrepreneurs. So welcoming, hi Vijay, welcome to this podcast.
Hi, Pratik. Thanks for having me. Thanks for having me as one of the early on guests in the pod series of Onchain India. You have got some amazing backers backing this Onchain India campaign, and I've been closely following you. Like you just mentioned, we have known each other for almost 3 years now, and 3 years to me, trust me, it's a long term. It's like a decade in Web3, right? Things move quite fast, and I still remember the early days where I came to you with the initial tech, right? Initially I was rejected, but then I was backed. So all these and great to be in a position where we are right now, and still early days. I still believe building for 3 years 4 years doesn't guarantee anyone success, but for sure, as a builder, as a founder, looking forward to the next set of years. Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks, Vijay. So, Vijay, will quickly start on two parameters. One is, how was your journey into the Web3? What made you motivated to come in this? And also on the second part is when you started initial, fundraising. I know it wasn't very smooth. There was a lot of back and forth, a lot of ideation and stuff. So, how was your mental model, at that point of time? And
Mhm.
how was that during that process?
So, I mean, for anybody starting up, this would definitely be an eye opener. You don't have to step out of your comfort zone to become an entrepreneur, right? Do what you're good at, right? I always tell this as an example, right? You can ask Virat Kohli to roll over his arms to bowl an over, but he cannot definitely deliver the first over of an innings, where Bumrah is actually the specialist, right? So I was doing data analytics, data science, data and AI, and all these data geeky stuffs for all these years. And because of GDPR, so I live in Germany. So being in Germany, GDPR, the General Data Protection Regulations and law around data is actually tighter than ever possible in any country. So coming from here, when I saw blockchain, when I wanted to build on blockchain data, especially the public blockchains are open. So that became an open gate for me to dive into it and explore things, right? So naturally that became a fit. And even today, I am still looking at data day in and day out at BitsCrunch. So for young entrepreneurs who are actually looking into it, you don't have to actually jump out of jump out of what you do currently. Rather, just focus on what your strengths are, and then try to find a way. So initial days were really tough. It was not a smooth sailing, and back then NFTs were a tiny little dot. Even today, NFTs are a tiny little dot, right? So to go with the deck and say that we are going to do this, we are going to provide this value for businesses around NFTs, it definitely needed some balls and right set of people to back. And yeah, glad we were able to build some cool stuffs, amazing stuffs, which we will discuss over the pod.
Amazing. Thanks, Vijay. On the journey. On how you got it there initially. I think 24 was a very crucial year because just few months back, when BTC was at one of its lowest point. You had raised like ample amount of capital, but things were very unclear on where next to go on that. And then you had some magical months in there where you cracked the final fundraising, and then you also got Coinlist
Mhm,
with all that sort of thing. So how was your sort of strategy at that point? Did you walk through, because
mhm,
it was a very uncertain area, nobody had
mhm,
clue when this
mhm,
market will bounce, or what was the thought process of you
mhm,
like navigating
mhm.
BitsCrunch through that difficult time?
Yep. Right from day one, the mantra has been build long term, build for long, right? Building long term has been the sort of an essence of BitsCrunch, and that has probably resulted us in a lot of good things that eventually happened. So that is something that founders need to understand. So in this space, especially blockchain space, is highly bumpy. The roads are highly unpredictable, and that is exactly where we wanted to have a clear mindset of not to worry about external market conditions, but just focus on where we wanted to go, right? And when we started, yes, the market was good, NFTs picked up, but then soon after we came into the space, even before we realized that was the bull got over, right? 2021, end of 2021, we raised a handful of money. 2022, we all know what happened. FTX and all these things cascaded into one another, and then the whole space gone into shelf, right? 2023 was a silent year, 2024. And yeah, eventually it is about holding on to the thread and believing in what you are building. And if your intentions are clear, if your focus is set right, I don't think there is no stopping you, right? For any sake, I don't think anybody will fail if you keep delivering, because the results are out there. Be it investors, be it retail, be it the community, be it anyone can see the data, can use the tools, can look up to the community, can check all the socials. We are doxed founders in the space, which is not also quite popular these days, where people are trying to mask them behind Web3 names. So it's all about these little things that we latch on to, and that little things make big difference, right? In fact, that this was the title of my TEDx talk as well. Little things make big difference.
Amazing. Vijay, we also want to, walk around with you on, I think it started with more as a NFT, sort of an analytics. And I think
Mhm,
it was a perfect positioning, when the fundraising happened and when, the product was getting utilized and stuff. And I think in the beer market, that sort of a disappeared, right? I mean, that
mhm,
was like brutally beaten over. So, what was the team's preparedness in venturing out, saying, "Hey, this was the strategy, but now this is
mhm,
like a complete black hole, and now we need to pivot, or now we need to think of some different strategies." And I'm
mhm,
pretty sure every founder goes through this kind of a cycle where they feel, "Hey, this is like the perfect use case," but suddenly,
mhm,
things change, variables change, and
mhm,
stuff. So, what's
mhm,
your way of preparing, to these sort of scenarios?
mhm. And like I said, crypto is one of the highly unpredictable and the bumpy space, right? Every year or every 2 years there is some new shiny objects. Look at DeFi. Look at how DeFi started. It's all Bitcoin for most of the time, and then Ethereum occurred, and then people took some time to build on Ethereum, and then DeFi happened. NFT season was there. There was a deep in season. There is always meme season. Meme season is always there. So a founder trying to continuously pivot is also something that I won't recommend, because things eventually, if there is fundamentals, if there is an essence in whatever that you do, it will eventually come back to you as a goodwill, right? I mean, one thing that I always look up to is the coin trailer, the Coinbase trailer. They put a trailer, I guess last year. It is a 1 to 2 minute video on YouTube, and if you look at that, it's so great. Like where they came from, right? Back in days, they used to just sell bitcoins. They just used to sell bitcoins and buy bitcoins using an exchange interface. And look at where they are now. They are listed on Nasdaq. One of the dream come true for founders like me, right? So it is all about latching onto that thread, seeing opportunities in where you can actually expand. You don't have to expand. In our case, BitsCrunch, naturally, we were data indexers of NFT. And NFT is sitting where? It is sitting on blockchain. And if we index blockchain and if we take out NFTs from that, we just asked, why not then full blockchain? Right? And that was the eventual pivot that we made. I won't call it a pivot, but I will call it an expansion. So we were already taking out one block from blockchain, which is NFT, and we asked ourselves, why not? Let's take DeFi, let's take GameFi, let's take whatnot, the entire blockchain data out. So for us, it happened naturally. But I have known founders who pivoted and have done amazing things. I mean, take for instance, Amazon started as a book library, and Netflix started selling DVDs and CDs back in days, and look where they are now. So pivot is okay, but it has to, whatever it is, at the end of the day, you need to survive, you need to make money, you need to make people believe in your vision. At the end of the day, that is key. So I believe that is the key here.
That's very rightly put, Vijay. And I think it happens over time that you go through the process of building, so you really realize what is two things, right? What is the market's response and what is the market missing at this point, right? And obviously, it's a very iterative process. So that brings me to the fact that you guys have built for around 3 years, and earlier this year you had your token launch as well, which Pratik had mentioned was quite successful. So just curious, because you've gone through that whole process, right? Like, how did you prepare for the token launch? Number one, like, what was the thought process? How did you design the utilities and integrate it in the products that you were offering and the community as well? And then, of course, the post launch journey, how that's evolved, and how has the community responded, and where are things at right now?
So token launch, for anybody who is actually looking into token launch as a playbook, I would suggest them to go by the famous A16Z principle. A16Z has done quite a number of blogs and podcasts out there, talking about tokenomics, token, why do we need a token, when you need a launch of token, and so on. So even though I haven't got A16Z yet on my cap table, but I hope I really will bring them on board someday. Uh, but I used to follow them quite a lot. So when you need a token launch, you have to prepare so well. A lot of founders, what they do is they rush into the TG, they rush into launching a token. They think that it's an unlimited supply of money or whatnot. I don't know, but they rush into it, but then lack clarity on it. Rather, what we did was we built utilities around token. In fact, we have 6 utilities around the token, being a delegator, being a node operator, being a contributor, all these are live. And being a customer using the token is coming out live in some time now. So as a customer, you can also use our token to buy the data that we have on the platform. And then we have a couple of other utilities as well. And then building community ground up. A lot of founders I see, they gradually build a community of few thousand followers, but then during token launch they hype it up and build a community. That is not a sustainable community in my opinion. Even today we have 200,000 followers across our socials, which is enough, which is enough for me, right? Which is enough for the project at this stage. I don't crave for a million followers right now, which are not relevant audience. And especially in this space where people flock onto new shiny objects every now and then, it is okay to build a sustainable community, which is quite small in number, in few thousand numbers, rather than just going behind numbers. I've known personally founders who just go after numbers and then they fail miserably after a while, right? So to build a community, to build a customer base, to build a product is the first thing, and then to build customers, to create that moat, to find PM of product market fit. These have to be done first before going into the token launch. And I believe we launched our token when we were 3 years and roughly 2 months old. So ideally, if you look at that, that is 38 months of building, surviving in Web3 space. So probably that's one of the reasons why we had a successful token launch on Coinlist. Today we are now sitting at a speculative price of 58, $60,000. But when we launched, the Bitcoin was around 40, 42K back in last December, right? So to pull up a sale of an impeccable sale of nearly $3.85 million in a matter of 24 minutes answers your question, right? It's all about building that momentum, not building that hype. Hype is okay when and where required. We have hyped up BitsCrunch quite a lot of times, but hype shouldn't be that only core focus, right? So, yeah, we have had some great hardships than celebratory times, I would say, in these 40 months to the token launch, lead up to the token launch. We have probably had 35 months of struggle and probably 5 months where we had to breathe a lot easier. So Pratik, being one of the backers, he knows the entire journey. We have had several downs, then ups. This is what I suggest founders to have in mind. Don't worry about the hardships. Hardships will come and go if you just keep focusing on your goals.
Yeah, I think that's very well said, Vijay. And I think I think normalizing the fact that you'll have multiple like phases and different evolution of the hardship. It's people see the
Yep.
token launch, they don't see the 40 months
Mhm.
right behind it. And that brings
Yes.
me, since you've already given the
Mhm.
advice on, okay, this is kind of how you can follow token launch playbook. Why don't we come
Mhm.
to advice for people that are looking to build in the space, right? Either very young
Mhm.
developers in their 20s or
Mhm.
founders
Mhm.
that are like
Mhm.
super hungry to build, and that
Mhm.
are from India specifically, right?
Mhm. Yep.
Because
Yep.
that category of builders and
Mhm.
founders has also evolved since the
Mhm.
last cycle. So what
Yep.
would you say to them now, given you've
Mhm.
already gone through this journey?
Yes.
Yeah, over to you.
For sure, for sure. So building in Web 2, building in Web 3, both are contrastingly different, right? I mean, both are totally different. Building in Web 2 means you have to grind yourself out there, work your asses off. Sorry, excuse my language. Work uh, day in and day out, and then you see all the flowers blossoming at the end of, let's say, 6, 7 years, 8 years, 9 years, 10 years. That's the typical period of doing what we call as IPO, initial public offering, right? Today, what Swiggy, Zomato, one of them is doing an IPO today, right? I mean, pretty soon, where all the well-known celebrities are also flocking towards that IPO. So that's an hardship or a journey of nearly a decade, right? That company was not started 2 years ago, 3 years ago. But building in Web3 literally means you get liquidity quite early in the journey. And as a founder, you have to know this prior to coming into the space. You know this, right? You as a founder know this, that you will get a liquidity upfront, right? And how you handle that liquidity matters a lot. I have seen founders who have started with BitsCrunch, who have raised similar rounds or even more money than BitsCrunch, have gone nowhere, right? I've seen people crumble. I have seen people fail. I've seen people excel as well. That's on the other side. But people failing in Web3 has become uh, p- predominantly more. And I guess liquidity is one issue. People need to understand. even after getting a liquidity, you shouldn't treat it as an exit strategy, right? Exiting at 8 years, 9 years, or 10 years matters a lot. Look at Coinbase. Brian Armstrong, people look up to his lifestyle, his earnings, his potential after what? Nearly a decade. Coinbase has built nearly a decade. And that is when people are realizing, okay, Coinbase is here. And that's the long-term vision people should take. When you come in early, there are so many shiny objects, so many objects where you can play around. It is okay to pick something up, but then you have to keep yourself intact for a long run, right? Even if you get an exit liquidity at the end of, let's say, 2 years, 3 years, or 4 years, you should still ask the same question: why you started, right? If the goal is, let's say, I want to make uh, let's imagine a case where I want to make $10 million is one of the founders answer to the question. He shouldn't bother about the $1 million that could possibly come in his way in the middle, right? Liquidity is early. So if he sees that $1 million and get distracted, then he can never achieve that $10 million mark. Just per se for this example. So go in long haul. People who have built long term, I've seen them successful, so successful, right? Looking back at the last couple of bull markets, I still see a lot of prominent founders who was in 2012, 2016, 2020 bull. They have all succeeded multifold. So just have in mind that don't get distracted by any means, any prices or any price actions. Just focus on why you came here, what you wanted to build, and check if the vision and mission is on track and you have accomplished something useful to the space.
Wonderful. I think some really great advice, Vijay. As we are nearing to the end of the podcast, want to
Mhm,
quickly wrap on two questions. One is on the tech part, right?
mhm,
Obviously, I think you've seen few cycles, you've seen different
mhm,
narratives and stuff to go into, right? I mean,
mhm,
in the initial part of your journey, having that sort of a tech product in terms of
mhm,
differentiation, on how do
mhm,
we attract. You've made a product and now you're attracting some users
mhm,
or communities onto play,
mhm,
and then now pivoting, and then also AI, which is coming out very
mhm,
very strong these kind of days. So
mhm,
internally in the BitsCrunch, how is the tech part? I know you guys are very strong. I think the tech team is
mhm,
phenomenal. What are the strategies that goes
mhm,
into that part in evaluating?
mhm. Tech, we have always been a tech savvy company right from the beginning. Right, that is the tech has been the prime focus at BitsCrunch right from day one, and then we don't care about so many marketing hype cycles, marketing hypes out there. Yes, we do create that on certain occasions, but tech has been always the prime focus, and that's why we have had a successful testnet on Coinlist where we had millions of users using our data, and then be it Mastercard or EY. That's also a testament of what we produce at BitsCrunch, right? So hiring has been a painful thing, especially in Web3 journey. Web3 users, Web3 resources are tough to find. But again, I would advise founders to uh, have micro offices, if not flexible offices. If you don't have one, invite people around, sit face to face. No, it's not COVID days anymore. uh, and see the compatibility, and focus on where you wanted to bridge the tech gap, right? Because at the end of the day, you need so many people. It is not just one Vijay's or one Pratik's who can make or break the company, right? You need a front end, you need a back end, you need a cloud engineer, you need a DevOps, you need UI UX, you need a designer, and so on, whatnot. And then you need sales, marketing, and so much people to carry this forward, take this forward, and reach the potential customers. So on the whole, prioritize tech always wins no matter what. Put a strong stress on tech, and then eventually things will fall in place. All these money big rounds, will potentially happen if you have solid tech.
Amazing. As we are the end of the podcast, Vijay, I think one advice that you would say, if you were to start from the fresh, what are some couple of areas that you would be looking in these
Mhm.
current markets, and
Yeah.
what strategy you would do to excel into that.
Mhm. Just giving as a little example before I go into that. We remember we raised $12 million at different valuations, be it seed, private. One of the best valuations that we ever had in the journey was 80 million. Our Coinlist launch was at 55 million. And from 55 million, just to give you an example, we went all the way up to 500 million on day one and 534 million on day 21. And then now we are back to ground zero, where we were back to the listing price at Coinlist and then further down because of the market conditions. But at the end of the day, all these are numbers, right? We were once, not just once, twice, $500 million company, half unicorn in startup sense. But one thing that you need to look at it is we still operate the same way, right? No matter what the valuations are, no matter what the fundraisers were, we still operate the same way. The team's energy is still the same. I keep hustling the same way that I did 3 years ago. So have this passion in creating something rather than looking at charts, looking at numbers. At the end of the day, eventually you will make it, right? If unless something wrong happens, if there is a World War III, nobody can save anybody, right? At the end of the day, any startups can easily fail. But until and unless you have the power in your hands, it is not those momentarily numbers that a token can put on the screen, but rather, I would suggest people to focus on fundamentals. Fundamentals are the key. Do what's best for you. Play to your strengths, and then just try to be candid. Right, tackle struggles that comes along the way, and be more vocal when the market favors you. So yeah, just be candid.
Amazing. Thanks, Vijay. I think it was lovely to share all your thought process. Since you started, and it's so exciting to hear the same kind of energy that you still have on this day. Going through all these things. It's really amazing, and I personally know you've been helping a lot of young founders over there. Always open for advices, and also helping in whatever capacity that you can do. It's really amazing, and we wish the best for the BitsCrunch in the coming days, for the product, for the community, and also some exciting PR news which I'm pretty sure you're going to announce in upcoming days. And really thanks for coming on this, and looking forward to see BitsCrunch climate sites.
Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot, Pratik and Ahan. Thanks for having me on Chain India. I wish the journey goes really well for you guys as well through this Onchain India campaign, where you on I wish you onboard the next billion users from India. India is a place where billions live. So yeah, let's make it happen. I'm happy to be a part of this journey. Thank you.
Thanks.
The pleasure, Vijay.